welcome back to Dottie's Adventures. As you can see, we have got her on the road. It's a bit nuts really. I've had Dottie, my Peugeot Partner Tepee wheelchair adapted vehicle that I'm converting into my little adventure wagon for, well, just shy of a month. Today's the 1st of September and I bought her on the 5th of August, and all bar about 3 minutes on the very first day that I got her, I haven't driven her since. The reason being, we immediately took her off the road because I knew there were a few jobs that I needed to do on her, as well as the conversion. And the plan was to tax and insure her from this month, from the start of this month. The other thing was I was a little bit kind of, I guess, worried a bit about insuring her because I didn't know what classes as modifications. It's all a little bit of a, or at least it felt a little bit of a minefield. How do you know what is a modification, what isn't? Would I get insurance all right? You know, I really wasn't sure. Anyway, I will talk to you in this video about the insurance, who I've gone with. I'll tell you the costs. I'll also share with you what they asked me, just in case, you know, you're interested. But before I do, I'm gonna take you back in time and just catch you up on what we've been doing to Dottie over the last week. And to be honest, it isn't a lot. I was away for a lot of the weekend up in Newcastle. If anybody's been following my community posts or Instagram, you'll have seen I was away in Northumberland for my nephew's wedding. So I'll talk a little bit about what we have done, and then I'll come back in time to now. Are you following this? And share with you, as I say, all the insurance. For now though, I am going out and enjoying a nice little drive. I've forgotten to bring a microphone. She is diesel, she's pretty loud. I'm hoping you'll be able to hear me over the top of her rattling engine. But you could tell I hadn't used her for a month because we had to get the battery charger on her to start her this morning. But she's running really, really nicely. Nothing's moving around too much in the back, which is good, although to be honest there's not a huge amount in there at the minute. But I have got some boxes and I've got my water canisters and things in the back, so there are things that would rattle around. It's reassuring to know that everything's pretty still at the minute. If I'm honest, I'm not a particularly fast sort of stop-start driver anymore. My days of driving like a maniac are well and truly gone. I'm your proper driving Miss Daisy these days, all smooth and slow. So consequently there's not a huge amount moving around. Not sure how we'd fare if I had to do an emergency stop. Anyway, I am waffling now. I'm going to leave you and take you back in time to everything we got done last week. So as I've said before, I don't want to have cupboards on the front of the kitchen units. The reason being, once the bed's out, if I have cupboards, there's nowhere for the cupboards to open and I want to be able to access what's in them. So the options would have been sliding doors, but that seems like a lot of work. The other option, which I feel is more in fitting with, or in keeping rather, with the style that I want, is to just put a curtain across the front. And if I do the curtain in 2 halves, then it means actually I can open it from the middle and get to all of the cupboards. So I've got some material that I had, this green material left over from a project I did for the other van a little while ago. And I've got the old trusty sewing machine out. I don't have massively great dressmaking skills, but I'm fairly certain I can run up a curtain to cover the unit. So that's my plan for now. That's what I'm going to do. And that's the material. Isn't that the most gorgeous colour? Beautiful green. Right, let's get this show on the road. Ouch. My finger. that so far. So the sink is in, it's just sealing. We've got the waste down to the waste bottle. We're just about to put the tap in, so we've got a USB tap to go in. That needs to be a hole drilled through the worktop with this hose, which will come out under here and down into the blue bottle, which is the fresh water. The clear one is the wastewater. This is really neat. It all fits very, very snug. I've got the curtain made to go across the front of the cabinets, and yeah, we're doing all right. Talk me through what you're doing, Mark.
So rather than just have your water pipe going through bare wood, I'm going to put this little tube, because there's layers. You're going to go through foam, and then this, and then that. So there's things that can catch on. But if this goes in, it's going to have a smooth passage all the way through. But also this is going to support your foam support that supports your tap.
Got yeah.
So I'm going to, in fact, I bet I can just force that through there. So it's going to support that. It's going to support your tap. I'm tempted to put tape around the bottom half so it's snug, and an extra band around here so it only goes so far and stops.
Yeah.
So if that's 15 mil thick, yeah, the top 15 mil.
Guys, I have a kitchen. Look at that. So I'm really pleased with that. I've got the sink in, the tap in, got the curtains on the front of the cabinets. Oh, I know it sounds daft, but I love those curtains. I love that look. Right, so we've arrived in Sea Houses, and I'm staying with my daughter Amy. We've left the boys in Beadnell at the house for the wedding, but we were going to be staying in our van, and we obviously sold it and we don't have another one. So, oh my God, look at the size of that bed. So Amy and I are sharing the biggest bed I've ever seen. We've got a nice sofa. It's all very nice. Where are we? We're King Street in Sea Houses, aren't we? It's an Airbnb. Huge big TV. There's milk in the fridge there for us, teas and coffees, and massive, massive bathroom. Really lovely. Nice and spacious. Big bath and a shower. And spotlessly clean. Absolutely lovely. So the wedding is tomorrow, but we are going to, I think, probably have a walk into Sea Houses. Do you reckon? Grab some dinner, and then we'll go and join everybody tomorrow for the wedding. Talk you through what we've done with our plumbing system. So we bought this really, really cheap USB tap off Amazon. It's only about £14, but it's really good. I'm pleased with it. The problem is it's intended to go on top of a water dispenser canister, and it's very, very light, which means that when you mount it on top of the worktop, it's just very, very loose. So what Mark's done is use some foam pipe insulation. What diameter was it?
Internal 15mm.
So the hole in the middle was 15mm.
Yeah,
and this?
I don't know.
About 25? 30
No, nearer 60 to
is it really?
75, yeah.
Okay, you know I'm rubbish at this stuff. Anyway, so what we've done I should have shown you as we were doing it, but there's a piece of brass pipe, 15mm brass pipe, goes down through the cabinet, and it's the depth of the cabinet plus a little bit more, and then that goes into the foam insulation, which is tucked up inside the tap, and then the plastic hose here, well, it's silicone actually, food grade silicone hose, again I think that's 8mm, is it? 6mm internal, 8mm external. This isn't the one that came with the tap. The one that came with the tap was very, very short. It was only intended to go into a water bottle. So we've probably got, I don't know, half a metre maybe here. And that goes up through the hole, through the copper pipe, into through the foam, and it attaches the tap. And the tap can spin, but it's quite sturdy. So then I've got 5 litres here of fresh water, and that goes in there. The pipe, which I've cut at a slight angle, so hopefully it doesn't get stuck on the bottom, will go in there. So that's my fresh water. The grey waste, or the sink waste, basically we've got that coming down through the plug here. Got a little bit of foam to put underneath there just so that it's more secure on there. We don't need to have pipes. What we didn't want was that sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, corrugated pipe, is that what you would call it?
Yeah, I think so.
Flexi hose. Because although I don't want to get any waste food down the sink, ideally that will never happen. But if I do accidentally get a bit of food, I don't want it getting trapped in the ridges of a flexi hose. So this way it just goes straight down. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm just going to push the plug in because we've got a push button plug. You ready? Let's see if this works. It could splash everywhere, couldn't it? We have water. So it's just an on-off button. You can press this one and it gives you a measured 600ml. I can't see I'm ever going to use that.
Why 600?
I've no idea. No idea. But I have a sink. It doesn't leak. I have a tap. And if I undo the plug, I have grey waste. We have a plumbing system. And the whole thing, I think, cost probably less than £30, including the tap, the plug, the sink we had already. It was just a salad bowl, and the 2 containers. I'm really pleased with that. That works.
Good, yes.
I'm looking at Mark because he's holding the camera and he's the one that made all this happen. I'm so chuffed. Brilliant. Right, onwards. Curtains are next.
You don't want to stick that basin down.
Oh yeah, this is still loose. Now, I have just seen a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's not draining, is it?
So it could be you just have your towel, your dish.
But that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water, isn't it? We might have to rethink that, I think.
I think a proper ceramic basin is a different shape in the bottom so that doesn't occur. Because what we've got, because this is flat bottomed, then this is
it's
a
just
lip.
Pooling.
And I think normally ceramic keeps tapering down further and further.
So what are we going to do you think?
Don't know.
Mop it up.
Yeah, mop it up.
Okay. Right, okay.
Don't know.
Yeah. All right. We didn't see that one coming.
That's fun.
Oh, I've just had a trip to B&M, and while I was there, I saw this basket in the bathroom section, and I thought, I wonder if that will fit in the gap in the van. Oh my word, look at that. And my little boxes fit inside, so they won't move around, and then the bigger boxes, I can get 2 of them on top of there. How good is that? I can't believe that's such a brilliant fit. So I've also bought, oh, let me put that back, some other bits and pieces. Let me show you. Bought just a plastic wine glass, because you know you have to, don't you? Also bought one of these square storage cubes and a really cute little doormat. Unfortunately, my velcroed curtain has fallen down. I don't think the adhesive is strong enough to stick to the fabric of the headliner, so I think I'm going to have to find a better way of sticking that. Okay, so the lighting isn't great inside Dotty, but it's a bit wet outside, so hopefully it's not too bad. So I wanted to talk to you about the insurance that I got on Dotty. It may be of interest to some of you if, like me, you were a bit worried about what to insure it as. Is it a micro camper? Is it a car camper? Is it just a car? Has it actually changed? Do I need to make people aware of the modifications I've made? It was all a bit of an unknown for me. So I'm going to share it just in case it might help you. Obviously, if this isn't of interest, by all means, skip to the end. That's not a problem. But if you are going to do that, please do me a favour before you go. If you've enjoyed this so far, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. It really does help. This channel is just taking off, and I'm really happy about it. We're already at more than 400 subscribers, and it's not even a month old, and I'm absolutely thrilled. And that's down to you guys watching and liking and commenting on the videos. So please keep doing that. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It actually doesn't cost you anything. It's not like a subscription service where you have to pay. It just means that you're giving YouTube a little bit of an indication that you like this type of content, and they'll show it to you more. And yeah, it would be really helpful, and I'd be really grateful. Thank you. However, let's get on with insurance. I have written things down because I thought I probably won't remember otherwise. So basically, yesterday morning, I wanted to make sure that I could start driving her. She'd been sawn. In the UK, that means a statement of off-road notification. Basically means it's letting the DVLA, which is our vehicle authority, if you like, know that you don't want to put your car on the road, so you don't get stung for, you know, not paying your tax. So it was sawned for a month, but I wanted to start using her. So I wanted to tax her from the 1st of September. The rules in the UK are a little bit odd. So if you tax in a month, you have to pay for the whole month regardless of when you start the tax. So I didn't want to start it at the end of August and lose a whole month. Anyway, let's get back to insurance. I already have a car that is my main family car, if you like, that is in my name. It's insured and taxed in my name. And I have full no claims discount on that. Now, I didn't have a clue how much my insurance was going to be on Dotty, because I can't have that no claims discount on 2 different cars. You can only have it allocated to one vehicle. So I haven't built up any no claims on a second vehicle yet. So I knew I wasn't going to have that benefit of the discount. So I didn't have a clue how much it was going to be. And I also wasn't sure who would insure me, because it's not a standard vehicle anymore. And I did a bit of ringing around. I tried to get in touch with my own insurance company, who I have for the other car, who I'm very happy with. I'm not going to say who they are, but I was very happy with them. But it was really difficult trying to talk to somebody on the telephone. It was all online, and I ended up on a live chat with somebody, but they couldn't deal with me because it wasn't a standard vehicle. And it all just got a little bit frustrating, if I'm honest. So then I went on a Facebook forum, or a Facebook group, which is let me try and get this right, it's the Citroen Berlingo and Peugeot Partner Campers group, I think it's called. And I just searched insurance and, oh, itchy nose. Lo and behold, there was loads of people had already asked the same question, and there were quite a few recommendations for insurance companies. And the one that kept coming up was Howden's. There were a few mentioned Adrian Flux. This is not in any way recommending or promoting any of these businesses. I'm just purely sharing my experience from trying to get my car insured. I'd heard of Adrian Flux before. I get the impression that they're very good at insuring non-standard vehicles. So if you do self-builds or anything like that. But a few people did seem to suggest that although their premiums were good and their insurance cover seemed to meet everything you need, the proof of any insurance company is when you need to make a claim. And from what I was reading from the comments, they didn't seem to have had a brilliant experience with Adrian Flux. I can't say whether that's right or not because I've never used them. But the one that did keep coming up as being good was Howden's. So I ended up ringing Howden's Insurance, and they basically encourage you to phone and speak to a real person, and I like that. A lot of the time I do like doing things without having to speak to people, but when it gets a little bit away from the standard, actually having a conversation with somebody for me is so much better. So I spoke to, I think it was the Peterborough office, and the girl very quickly said, right, you need to speak to our modified vehicle insurance people. So they put me through to Daniel, and he was absolutely brilliant. He went through everything. The things that they wanted to know were, what modifications have been done to the vehicle. So I explained that it was a Peugeot Partner Tepee, but it had already been modified for a wheelchair. That doesn't show up on my V5 at all. It just shows it as an MPV. It shows it with 4 seats. It didn't have 4 seats when we got it. It had a third passenger seat, which was a very small seat. Perhaps the 4th seat was where the wheelchair would have strapped in. So I think by seats they actually mean how many seat belts did it have. Well, I think it had 4 seat belts. However, it's now only got 2 seats, but we can put the 3rd seat back in, and nothing that we've done, with the exception of chopping the ramp off, is irreversible. So if somebody did want to put a ramp back on and a winch back in, they could easily readapt this as a wheelchair vehicle. He's insured it as a 2-seater, but he was very clear that that was absolutely fine and it wouldn't affect my insurance. That's the most important thing for me. I explained that we'd chopped the ramp off. He was absolutely fine with that. He wanted to know if the winch was still in place. I said, no, we'd removed that. I explained that there was no permanent gas or electricity other than the vehicle battery in the van, the car van. But I explained as well that my cooking facilities are a butane camping gas stove that would not be permanently kind of rigged up like a hob in the vehicle, and he was absolutely fine with that. He wanted to know that there'd been a false floor put in and that the bed would be fixed. I explained that the bed wasn't in at the moment, but it would be. And basically, I just shared exactly what we'd done. I'll be honest, I went into the conversation thinking, should I be very honest and open about everything we've done, which quite honestly isn't a huge amount. But I then thought, well, actually, if I ever have to make a claim, I don't want the insurance company to come back and say, well, you didn't tell us about that. Because some of the things I'd read on the forums were like, if you put window boxes in the back window, like cupboards, you have to inform your insurance company about that, because if you don't, they might class that as obstructing your vision and therefore may void your claim. There were lots of things that the people on the Facebook group were saying. could potentially be seen as a modification, even though you might not think it. I think the best course of action is just to be really, really honest. There was no problem. I never got the feeling that by saying we'd made a change, they were going to turn me down for insurance. It wasn't like that at all. They just wanted to know everything. So Daniel was absolutely brilliant. He gave me the quote, which I'll share with you in a second. And he was just really easy to work with, and he made it a very simple process. So in terms of price, now of course the cost is going to be different for everybody. It's going to depend on your location geographically. It's going to depend on your age, your past driving experiences, you know, if you've had any accidents in the past, how much, I'm going to say how much no claims you've got. If this is going to be your only vehicle and you've got no claims, of course that is going to have a benefit for you. Even though I couldn't have my existing no claims against this vehicle, because I had full no claims, he did give me a 5% discount just because I'd never made a claim, which I thought was really nice. The other thing he gave me a discount for was the fact that he asked me how I'd found out about Howdens, and I said, oh, I was, you know, you were recommended from a Facebook group. He asked which Facebook group it was. He recognised the Facebook group and he gave me a discount because of that referral as well. So, you know, what I'm sharing is just purely as a bit of a ballpark figure, just to give you some idea, because I'll be absolutely honest, I didn't know whether this was going to cost me a couple of £100 or into £1,000 to insure. I had no idea. I was literally going in kind of open to whatever he told me. So the cost of a year's insurance, fully comprehensive, with 180 days of EU insurance cover as well, so I can take her across to Europe if I want to. And I think it was £3,500 cover for kind of the stuff inside. Cost me £335 for the year, which I thought was really, really good, considering I don't have full no claims at all on this vehicle. I then added an extra £38 to protect that no claims, because I do want to build up a second no claims for this vehicle, and that cost me an extra £38. So in total, £373 for the year for my insurance. There was no courtesy car cover with that, because actually if I can't, you know, if anything happens to Dottie, I have my other car, so that's not a problem. So that hopefully just gives you a little bit of an idea of the cost of insuring. This is a 1.6 diesel Peugeot Partner Tepee. So hopefully that just gives you a bit of an idea anyway. So I'm going to leave it there and catch you next time. I have got a trip away planned for this weekend coming, and I'm taking a very, very special guest with me on my first maiden journey in Dottie. It was going to be up to Newcastle on my own, and then I thought, actually, let's stay a little bit closer to home for the first one. But I'm going to bring a friend with me. More than a friend, really. I'll tell you all about it when I see you next time. Take care.